Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome to Leslie Vernick's Public Platforms. We are here live to talk about a really important topic this evening, and I am so grateful that you are here. Hey, Instagram. Hi, everybody. If you could type into the chat and let me know that I am seen and heard, that would be great. I am Leanne Parsons. I am a professional certified coach, a TBRI practitioner, and part of Leslie Vernick's coaching team. And I'm really honored to be here with you. If this is your and my first time meeting one another, I'm so grateful that you're here. So say hello, type into the chat. I would love to know that we are connected. I want to ask a question. If you are a woman just like me who knows what it's like to lose herself trying to be what everyone else needed her to be, if that sounds like you, just raise your hand in the chat and let me know whether you are on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Maybe you do that too. Maybe you have been bending for years, bending over backwards to keep the peace. Maybe you have been in charge of managing all the moods in the room to avoid conflict or earn acceptance. Maybe you, like me, have twisted yourself emotionally, spiritually, maybe even relationally, just to hold everything together. And then deep down, you are feeling tired. Is that you? If that's you, let me know. Okay, I see a few of you typing into the chat. All right, so here we go. We are clicking on all cylinders together tonight. I am so grateful that we get to be here, whether you are live with me or you are watching the replay. Okay. All right. Hi, Sandra. I'm in Phoenix too. I am back home again. I have been on the road. And there have been times, even on the road, where I felt like I was twisting myself. So this topic really resonates deeply with me this evening. And so I just want to say that you're not alone. And maybe some of you, when you think about this bending, this twisting, I even have a little pretzel here, right? I didn't have any big ones, but I have my little gluten-free ones here. All right. And so maybe you can kind of see yourself twisting into a pretzel. All right. And maybe you're not feeling like super angry, but you know that you are not okay either. Maybe you smile on the outside, and then on the inside, you're kind of asking yourself, maybe you're asking God, when is it going to be my turn to breathe? When is it going to be my turn to untwist? So, our topic for today is I will not be a human pretzel. We want to break free from unhealthy people pleasing. So, I am here tonight to talk to you about becoming a human pretzel. And so when you saw those words, there was something about that resonated with you, that resonated with you. And I'm so grateful. Many of you here are talking about how you have already joined our Moving Beyond People Pleasing program. We have a flexible group coaching program actually that is going to be starting. I'm going to just put it up here because I know some of you are going to want to know about this right away. So we have it designed and created for you this summer with all of our flexible travel schedules. We're going to be beginning our Moving Beyond People Pleasing group coaching experience next week, and we would love to have you part of it. And so I see many of you have already registered. That is wonderful. We still have a seat at the table for those of you who are thinking about it. And we're going to be talking for the next 6 weeks together in our group coaching program about letting go of the human pretzel phenomenon that many of us could find ourselves in. And so, how would I describe it? How would you describe being or becoming a human pretzel? Go ahead and type it into the chat and let us know. I would love to hear your definition of a human pretzel. If you're willing, remembering that this is Leslie Vernick's public page, anybody can pop on here and read it, but how would you define being a human pretzel? I gave you a few ideas a moment ago: bending over backwards to keep the peace, managing the moods in the room, avoiding conflict, twisting yourself up emotionally, spiritually, and relationally to hold everybody and everything together, and you are tired. All right. So, we're going to talk about this whole idea of becoming a human pretzel and how do we stop doing that? All right, Instagram. I look forward to hearing from you as well. YouTube, Facebook, we are on all platforms. Yeah. Okay, Erin, I see you doing what is right in everyone else's eyes. And then what does that do to your vision when you are doing what is right in everyone else's eyes, but perhaps not in yours? Salty. Contorting myself to fit into other people's boxes of what they want you to be. I see you, Barbara. Love it. Thank you for engaging on this. This is a pattern that we can all fall into. Maybe it's living small. Maybe it's apologizing for being human yourself, right? You have needs and wants, and you feel like you need to apologize for your needs and wants. And yeah, it does get confusing, Erin. Okay, Sheila, I see you. You don't see your own vision. This is big. That would be like me, covering up my eyes and not being able to even read the screen, right? And I'm not okay with that. I want to be able to see and hear what each one of you have to say. You're conforming to avoid what you need or what you want. Thank you, Sandra. Sometimes when we fall into these patterns, like you are putting into the chat, when we fall into these patterns, we twist ourselves up to keep the peace. And we can call it love, right? When we are contorting to please other people, we can call that love. But that's not love if it costs you your voice, your dignity, your sanity, your vision, as you talked about, if you're really confused all the time. All right. We don't want that. And that is why we do our group coaching programs. We have many of them that run throughout the course of the year. And right now we're getting ready to launch Moving Beyond People Pleasing. And it starts next week. We're going to be meeting together for 6 weeks. And we are going to walk through what it means to untwist and unbend so we can be in alignment with who God created us to be. All right. I want to offer you something a little bit healthier tonight than becoming a human pretzel. All right. I don't want to put more pressure on you. I don't want you to feel like you need to perform for anybody, but I want to grant you some permission to untwist, to exhale, and to push the reset button. All right. Beautiful. Yes, if you go to leslievernick.com/people pleasing course, you will find out all of the information about our 6-week summer-long flexible group coaching program. And we would love to have you join us. All right. So let's do a little bit of engagement here. Are you a woman who says yes when everything inside of you wants to say no? So maybe there's some fear about saying no. Type into the chat and let me know if that's you. Are you a woman who wants to say yes when everything inside of you wants to say no? Or are you the wife who is avoiding truth to keep the peace? Is that you? Okay, I see you. Maybe you're the daughter who manages everybody else's emotions, but you don't have any space for your own. Is that you? Yeah, I see you. I see you, Allison. I see you, Vicky. I see you, Andrea. Yeah, it can be us. So people pleasing gets wrapped up in a spiritual bow. I'm talking about pretzels. It could look like a bow. It could look like all kinds of things, right? And people pleasing can get like this, just like this pretzel. We can feel like it's holy to abandon ourselves for the sake of other people. All right, I see you. I no longer say yes all the time, but I still struggle to set boundaries. Thank you, Vito, for, sharing that, Tara, because here's the deal. We will struggle to set boundaries if we're not used to it. And when we know what is okay with us and what is not okay with us, that helps us to untwist. When we know what we will say and what we won't say, that helps us to live in alignment on the inside of us and with what comes out of our mouth. Because here's the deal. If we are constantly focusing on making sure everybody else's emotions are okay, and we're bending over backwards and we're twisting ourselves up into knots to keep the peace, we don't have any bandwidth to take care of ourselves. And so it's really easy to stay stuck in the twist. All right. I see you. I see you. All right. We don't need to abandon ourselves for the sake of others. We can respect other people, love them well, and serve them well without dishonoring ourselves in the process. And this is something that we work really hard with women in our ministry. I've had to work really hard in and of myself to be able to do that. We do not want to emotionally or spiritually erase ourselves from the equation. And that's what can happen when we get twisted into a human pretzel. All right, living our truth sometimes destroys what we struggle with to keep it together. It does. We get disjointed. It's disjointed. And sometimes the fear and the twisting and the bending can feel like a mask of fear. Sometimes when I get twisted into a pretzel form, it is because I am being motivated by fear instead of truth. All right. So maybe you, like me, were taught that loving means never upsetting anyone. Loving means that no one will ever be disappointed with you. And if they are disappointed with you, you're not loving them well. Does that resonate with you? Does that resonate? I would love to know if that resonates with you as well. Yeah, I see you. Okay. Maybe you have heard that drawing boundaries or cultivating boundaries is a selfish thing to do. I just want to say right here, right now in this space that I don't believe that any relationship can be healthy when boundaries are absent. And we talk about that in people pleasing. We help you to establish boundaries. And so if this is resonating with you and you want to untwist, you want to learn to navigate your relationships without erasing yourself in the process. And you want to be okay if other people are disappointed because you're human. Then our Moving Beyond People Pleasing group coaching program just might be the answer to the prayers that you have been praying for a completely different summer that you want to have. Some of you, I can see in the chat and in our communities that some of you have felt that your needs are a burden. Okay, I'm seeing 100%. I'm seeing yes. Oh, yes, in the chat. I want to share with you that your needs are not a burden, that you are holy and dearly loved and supported and created with a purpose. And needs are God-given. We all have a need to belong, to be accepted, to be loved, to be cherished, to be cared for, to be heard, and to be seen. That is not a burden, friends. That is not a burden. That's called humanity. With everything that's going on in this world right now, my love and my prayers go out to Texas, to the Carolinas, everywhere where there is just so much trauma happening with natural disasters. We can be tempted even then to diminish the needs that we have. But the needs are real. The people in Texas need our prayers, need our love, need our support, need our care, need a supportive ear. And that is not a burden. And when we are willing to hear, see, and feel another human being, that is a gift that we can give. And when we start living out of our values and not being pushed by fear, we're able to walk in alignment with God and be all He's created us to be and not be twisted up. This world can be exhausting, and Christ is our anchor. Christ is our anchor. I'm so glad that you're all here. So I want to challenge some beliefs tonight, because the title of our live is I Will Not Be a Human Pretzel. So if you are not going to be a human pretzel, who will you be? Who will you be? Are you okay staying in the mindset that loving means never upsetting anyone, or that drawing boundaries is selfish, or that your needs are a burden? Are you okay with those beliefs? If you're not okay with those beliefs, then we want to challenge them tonight. We want to challenge them gently, but we want to challenge them with truth. Okay. So, if you're not going to be a human pretzel, you're going to be steady and calm. What else will you be? If you're not going to be a human pretzel, what else will you be? Who will you be if not a human pretzel? I'm going to be a human being and not a human doing. Okay. How about you? How about you? So I want to be real with you, right? I've lived as a human pretzel. I've lived as a human pretzel, as a daughter, a wife, a woman of faith. I twisted myself into what I thought everybody wanted. There was times that I was quiet where I should have spoken up. There were times that I spoke up and I should have been quiet. Okay, I see you. I will be a woman guided by the Holy Spirit. So what will help you to stay there? What will help you to stay as a woman being guided by the Holy Spirit? Okay, let's really get practical. Okay, Allison saying I will be less tired. Yeah, because twisting yourself into a pretzel, that's work. That's work. And it can't breathe. If I were to take, you could even do this too, right? But if you were to take your arms like this and put them in front, this gets exhausting to stay twisted all the time. Would you agree that if I had to sit like this for the entire hour, I would be sore? I would feel squished. I couldn't breathe as well because I'm twisted. So when I untwist, I'm going to be able to be more open to what God has for me. And I'm going to be able to speak more clearly and authentically and honestly with you. Okay? Sometimes we shapeshift in order to survive. We do. We can smile through an ache. We can minimize our pain because we don't want other people to be uncomfortable. I've been told not to cry before because it made somebody uncomfortable that I was crying. Well, I'm a feeler, friends. And that didn't feel good to me, and it didn't feel authentic if I have to stuff all of my emotions, where some of them are really holy. Okay, you will be a woman regulating your emotions. I love that. You will be compassionate with yourself and with others. You will give grace freely. You will set boundaries that keep you safe and healthy. Safety and trust is so big. Do we feel safe with ourselves? Are we able to trust ourselves? These are questions we get to ask ourselves every single day. We get to ask ourselves that. Was I safe for me today? Did I trust me today? Was I safe with the Lord? Did I trust Him? Was I safe with the people in my surroundings? And am I able to trust them? Or am I twisting myself inside out to be somebody that I was never created to be. Okay, I see you. Shape shifting has been your adulthood. Okay, no longer. I am being seen and I am holding myself accountable. So, part of holding ourselves accountable is to let go of some of the beliefs that we have held on to that have kept us stuck, small, or afraid. All right? Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I don't know any other way to be but honest with you all. And, about 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, I turned in my people pleasing card, my unhealthy people pleasing card. Now, oftentimes I fall back into a habit. I can still shapeshift sometimes if I feel like I'm in survival mode or fearful. And I can still smile through an ache. And sometimes I have been the woman that, you would look at and think she's so put together. But on the inside, I was unraveling. I've been her. And I can still fall into those patterns of human pretzeling or people pleasing if I don't have the accountability and the support of other women who want to go on that same path with me. And that's why I'm really passionate about our summer flexible coaching program that begins next Monday. We're going to spend 6 weeks together and we're going to learn to stop shape shifting. And I better not say that too fast. Okay. We're going to learn to stop that and to live in alignment with who God created us to be, whole. Because you know what? Becoming a human pretzel, we get tight, we get bound up, and we can break really easy. And then we end up trying to conform and to fit into places that we never were created to be in. So were you like me? Looking pretty, good on the outside, looking all to get put together, but on the inside, you felt like you were unraveling. Yeah. Is that who you have become? Something bent and beautiful, but breaking, just like this pretzel? Yeah. I mean, I love me a good pretzel, but I don't want to be one. I don't want to be one. And I don't think you do either, because you decided to join us here in this space. If you have a question about becoming a human pretzel and breaking free from people pleasing that you would like to get to me tonight, and you don't want to place it into the feed because this is Leslie's public platforms, I invite you to send a question to leslievernick.com/question/, and Karen will get your question directly to me and we can address that before we end our time together today. Oh, okay, Julie, I see you. You look unraveled on the outside and on the inside. I've been there too. I have been that hot mess on the outside and on the inside. Melissa, I'm so excited that you're here on Instagram and you can't wait for the coaching to start next Monday. Me too. Did you know, friends, that we are going to have 9 different opportunities every single week for you to coach with our coaching team for 6 weeks? 90 minutes on Zoom live. We have a private Facebook group set up for you. We have an entire curriculum with 13 videos, handouts, transcripts, an ebook about people pleasing that Leslie wrote. And it is only offered if you sign up for our Moving Beyond People Pleasing flexible group coaching program. You can come 1 time a week or 9 times a week. We're going to be going over the same material every single week or every single time that we go live, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and a Saturday coaching opportunity for the next 6 weeks. You don't want to miss this, friends. This is a really, really unique and beautiful opportunity for you to untwist, and become all God created you to be. Beautiful, broken, but not breaking. Yeah? All right. So why do we people please? Why do we twist into a human pretzel? What do you think? Why do you people please? For me, I'm trying to feel safe. safe emotionally, physically, spiritually, environmentally, financially, all the things. What about socially? I can twist as a human pretzel to become whoever, all the time growing up, I've had many different groups of friends, a lot of different styles of friends. And I would be really good at conforming to whoever I was with. And that got exhausting. What I realized when I was becoming a human pretzel and conforming and shape shifting, I was not being me. I was being who other people wanted me to be because I was so afraid of being rejected. And when I felt rejected, I didn't feel safe. Yeah. So why do we people please? I see there's a bunch of us here tonight. Why do we turn into human pretzels? Perhaps somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that approval means protection. If somebody approved of you, you were being protected. That if you were not approved of, you couldn't trust them and you weren't protected. See that funny dance? Yeah, okay, I see. Same. Trying to feel safe is why you people please. And Christian women, as we're navigating relationships, we've kind of been taught that peacemaking is people pleasing. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing, friends. I'm just checking here. I love how you're bringing up that different relationships, it's easier to fall into people pleasing than others. I get that. And some of the women that we navigate life with, right, are navigating emotionally destructive relationships, whether it be with their spouses or their families. And that can be super hard. Okay. Ephesians 4:15 gives us a challenge, friends, about how do we untwist. One way that we untwist from becoming a human pretzel is to speak the truth in love. Would you agree? Would you agree? Another way that we can untwist from becoming a human pretzel is to let our yes be yes and our no's be no. Did you know that that's found in the Bible? Matthew 5, to be exact. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. How many of you shape shift and your no's turns into yeses and your yeses turn into no's? Yeah. Pleasing, it's going so fast. Okay, pleasing others thinking is a way that God will be honored. Yeah, you know what? And I love to make people happy. I'm on here tonight because I want to serve you. I want to bless you. I want to coach with you and get to know you and encourage you to untwist. And I hope that you're pleased. That's a healthy people pleasing because I'm living my values. But if I get caught in the trap of fearing saying the wrong thing or not serving you well, instead of trusting in the Lord, that would be a trap, right? Because Proverbs reminds us of that. Fear of man is a trap, but trusting in the Lord brings safety. Yeah, I love it. Thank you, everybody. All right. So we get to ask ourselves a question when it comes to twisting ourselves in a human pretzel form. Am I trying to win the approval of people or of God? So when you twist into a pretzel, are you trying to win the approval of people or of the Lord? Yeah, I love that, Tara. Sometimes when we speak the truth in love, others will disagree with us. And are you okay with that? Or does other people disagreeing with you, or maybe being a little bit disappointed in your opinion or your frame of reference, does that make you want to hide and play small? Does it make you want to shrink? This is where we get to lean in and ask the Lord on that one. Because other people may disagree with you, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Somebody needed to hear that tonight. And I think I did too. I think I did too. Healthy people pleasing, living our values with trusting in the Lord and not being overly focused on how others feel about you and winning their approval. I love that. We get to focus on God's approval. Thank you. Thank you for typing that into the chat. People pleasing for me, it was a fear of being seen as myself, fear of being judged from my husband, or fear of being left alone. I see you, Allison. This is big. And if we can go to God's word, friends, these verses are not just memory verses, right? To check off a list. They can be verses that will help us untwist and break free from unhealthy people pleasing if we ask ourselves these beautiful questions. Okay. All right. I'm going to take a look and see if we have any questions coming in, because we are at the top of the hour here. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. And if you're watching the replay, type replay into the chat. If you're watching live, type live into the chat. All right. Let's see. And my document is locked up. We're going to try and reboot. So I love that, because guess what? Sometimes we need to reboot in life. We need a reset. And if you're feeling like you need a reset and you're ready to untwist, then perhaps our moving beyond people pleasing, flexible coaching experience this summer is just what you need. If you go to leslievernick.com/people pleasing course, it's on the blue banner on this screen. You will be able to see a video from Leslie, a lot of testimonials from other women just like you who have stepped in and taken this course and this coaching program with us and have received incredible benefit from untwisting. All right, let me see here. And you're welcome. When you speak your truth with people that you have no boundaries with, you tend to receive the silent treatment for a few days. Ooh, and it doesn't feel good. No, it doesn't. The silent treatment, I love that you brought that up over on Instagram. I see you. So here's the deal. When the silent treatment comes, that can cause us to twist into a human pretzel, to try and make everything okay again, because we're uncomfortable with other people's silent treatment. You know what? We can't control what other people do, but we can control how we engage and show up with them. Love that. Keep it coming. The silent treatment can be incredibly abusive, especially if it's meant to harm us. All right, I'm going to take a look. Okay, I don't see any questions yet. If you have any questions about people pleasing, go ahead and drop them into the chat or send them to leslievernick.com/question/ I'd be happy to answer your questions to the best of my ability. All right, we're going to keep going then. So has there been a defining moment for you when you realized that you were a human pretzel? Anybody? Maxine, we're happy that you're here live from Bermuda as well. Hey, Lori, good to see you. Hey, Allison. Good to see you, friends. So when was the first time that you realized that you were twisting yourself into a human pretzel? Maybe it's tonight. Maybe it's when you got this email reminder or there was a notification on your social media that we were going to go live with this tonight. And that term human pretzel is speaking to how you feel on the inside. Your heart, your emotions, your thoughts are being so twisted that you can't breathe clearly. You can't think clearly. You're kind of in the fog. Might that be you? A smear campaign. A smear campaign was launched against you, and that was your wake up. I am so sorry. I'm glad that you have that awareness, and I'm sorry. Smear campaigns are horribly painful. When I have to say no to something that somebody else expects me to do and I don't want to. I see you. Friends. So, there was a time that I sat with the Lord And I was questioning who it is that I was created to be. And I knew that I couldn't continue living in that confusion anymore. I wasn't comfortable not knowing and owning and living into who God created me to be. I didn't know who I was. And when I took that before the Lord, He didn't judge me for it. He embraced me. He said, Leanne, I hold you with my mighty right hand. The grip of God is upon your life. And from the Lord, I receive nothing but grace. Absolutely nothing but grace. I really sensed Him in that still, quiet, beautiful whisper of His. He was telling me, you're seen. You are mine. And you don't have to keep disappearing in order to be loved or accepted. Friends, that was a big moment for me. Have you experienced that whisper from the Lord where you know that you are fully seen, that you are His, and you don't have to disappear to be loved? You don't have to turn into a human pretzel to be loved. Is that you? Could that be some of your experience too? Another thing that I love about the work that we get to do here at Leslie Vernick & Co. is that I get to walk with women who have had similar experiences. You know, these moments with the Lord didn't fix everything for me, but it helped me unravel the first lie. It helped me unravel the first lie. And it started me on a journey to untwist the pretzel and to stand tall. And every day I get to make choices just like you do. Will you unravel the lies, the beliefs that you hold that keep you bound up like a human pretzel? All right. You don't have to disappear to be loved. Thank you, Lord. Amen. I'm seeing your notes in the chat. Thank you for engaging with me here. You know, and as we're on this journey to move beyond unhealthy people pleasing, we get to understand it is a journey. And we get to go into the journey to untwist the pretzel and to stand tall. And how do we do that? One way that we do it, the first way, is to live in truth. To live in truth. And those beautiful verses in Psalm 139 tells us who we are. When we question, when we doubt, when we're told that we are less than who God created us to be, we get to go back to God's truth. Because His truth always invites us to come home to who God designed us to be. He did not design you to be a human pretzel. He did not. All right, I'm going to take a pause here. Who did God design you to be? If He didn't design you to be a human pretzel, He designed you to be fully you. There's only one you, and you are beautiful. You are beautiful, and you're very special, and He loves you, and He desires to walk with you. You know, and that's why our coaching team has put together our Moving Beyond People Pleasing 6-week flexible coaching program, because we know your schedules are busy, and we know summertime, it's easy to twist yourself into a human pretzel to meet everybody's needs, all the kids, all the neighbors, all the community, all the family members, all the visiting that you get to do. What would be different for you if when you went and visited family, you were fully you, upright, you were standing upright, and you were not bending down and twisting yourself or hiding or erasing yourself, but you let yourself to be fully known? You know, this journey, moving beyond people pleasing, is a sacred journey. And it's too sacred to walk alone, and it's too important to delay. And that's why we're doing all these lives for you here on Leslie's public platforms, because we want you to know you don't have to walk this journey alone. You don't. We invite you warmly to join us. Go to leslievernick.com/people pleasing course and pray about it. See if part of you untwisting is saying yes to this group coaching opportunity. You know, when we're going through this program, we're going to be talking about all the topics that we've talked about tonight, right? Why you've said yes when you've meant to say no. What does it look like to set boundaries with grace and not control? How to discern between real love and false peace, because false peace will twist you into a human pretzel. And I just love this program so much. And I just love the women in our community that join us in our coaching programs. We develop connection and community with each other, and we find the courage together to untwist and to live aligned and not anxious. Oh my goodness. That just speaks to my heart as I was saying that just now. That's a desire that I have. And that's the intention that I'm setting as I prepare to coach with you, along with our team, to live aligned into the woman God created me to be, not to be anxious about it or to be fearful, but to honor who God created me to be, to live my values, and to encourage you to do the same thing. Because sometimes we don't even know it. We've never even seen it modeled because we've been groomed to show up differently. And in our group coaching experience, we role play, we model what it looks like to live aligned, to untwist. We model that every day as we coach with you. And we encourage you to do the same. And we practice and we put into action what it is that we're learning. I am a firm believer that we can live what we're learning with accountability, with connection, and with community and professional coaching. It's a game changer. We can learn to stop managing others and honor who God created us to be. You're going to get 9 opportunities for live coaching on Zoom. You're going to get videos and handouts, prompts, coaching tools, a safe sisterhood, like-minded women that want to do the same thing, grounded in scripture, in biblical truth. You're going to learn how to say yes without guilt and no without shame. We start next Monday. Have you saved your seat? We would love to have you join us. All right, I'm going to pull up our document here and see if there are any questions. All right, I see a couple of questions here. How do I know that I am people-pleasing? Well, that is a great question. So one way that you are going to know how you are people-pleasing is if you are saying yes or no and you want to say the opposite. If you are performing instead of being present. If you are hiding the best parts of you to cover up the worst in somebody else. If you are erasing yourself out of the human equation. Those are a few symptoms of people pleasing. If you are bending over backwards for everybody else, that you have no energy to stretch yourself. If you are so focused and consumed with making everybody else happy that you've lost yourself. Maybe you don't even know what you really want to have for dinner, or what your favorite ice cream is, or your favorite flower, because you just acquiesce all the time. If you never speak up and ask for what you need or what you want out of fear of rejection, that could be a symptom of people pleasing. I love this question from Instagram. Thank you so much for your help. But how do you know if you have too many boundaries? There are people who expect too much from you. You know, and you know what? Boundaries come in many different forms. We can have soft boundaries. We can have very firm boundaries, and then we can have some that ebb and flow. right? And over the years that I've been trying to let go of unhealthy people pleasing, I have realized that my boundaries can shift and change depending on my own growth and my own maturity. And so if you're constantly in butting heads with people over and over and over and over again, and there's all this criticism and all this I won't, I won't, I won't, I won't, then perhaps your boundaries may be rigid. But this is something that we are learning in our Moving Beyond People Pleasing group coaching program. Our learning comes in layers. And we're going to get really clear on who it is that we are and who it is that we are not. We're going to get really clear on what's okay with us and what is not okay with us. We're going to talk about tolerations. What are you tolerating that is causing your temperature to rise to the point of where you are not able to emotionally regulate anymore, right? Boundaries are designed to protect us and to keep us safe. Sometimes our boundaries can become a burden when we don't know what matters most. And so we help you step into healthy boundaries one step at a time. Some of you have never had healthy boundaries in your life. You have been told that they were selfish and you don't even know where to start. Well, we're going to, in our coaching program, we work on that. We're going to coach you. I believe you have it in you. And so does our whole coaching team. We're going to peel back the layers, the lies that you believe that have prevented you from setting healthy boundaries. Yeah. There are going to be people that expect a lot from you. And you get to understand and know where you can meet with people. And it takes work to do that. It takes work to do that. We get to know ourselves. We get to know our God better. And then we're able to serve the world better and in healthy ways. Okay. So what do we do? How do we untwist? Let's put one small thing into practice today. If somebody is having a lot of expectations on you, just like one of our questions that came in, before you answer them, when they make a request of you or a demand, before you say yes, take a breath. May your first word be a breath, be a pause. If somebody is asking you for your time, for your energy, emotional labor, physical labor, all the things, pause, breathe. And then ask yourself this question. Is my yes a true yes coming from love, or is it fear? Is my yes being led by love, or is it being pushed by my fear of losing somebody's love? Because friends, losing somebody's love was one of the fear of that was one of the biggest things that twisted me into a human pretzel. And that was fear-based. When we give ourselves the gift of a pause and a breath, it's a sacred moment. And it is perhaps your first step into freedom and untwisting and being able to walk upright, to stand straight before the Lord in truth and in wisdom. Yeah. We do get to count the cost. How will I untwist? So I love that we are almost at the end of our time today. I'm going to take a peek here and see if we have any more questions. I don't see any. So let's make this really practical. You've chosen to be here with me for 40 minutes. If you've been here the whole time, just type a 40 into the chat. I would love to know. We don't even know for sure, like how long people stay with us, right? You chose to be here no matter how long. You have chose to be here with us in this space because you are not willing to be a human pretzel anymore. You want to break free, to untwist, and to stand straight. Okay, Celine, I see you. Lori, thank you. For Amy, so good to see you. So you've been here. So what is it, Jessica, for you? What are you still wondering about? Is it how to set a boundary? Are you wondering about or having some fear around taking a breath and a pause and not answering somebody right away? Are you wondering what our people pleasing flexible group coaching program includes? Or are you wondering if you're a people pleaser? Drop your question into the chat. I'd love to speak directly to what's on your heart. You have chosen to be here, and we do not take that lightly. We appreciate your trust and your confidence. We do our best to bring biblically sound coaching to you and teachings here on these lives and encouragement and connection. So do you have any questions? What are you going to do? How about this? You haven't asked me any more questions. How about if I ask you a couple? What are you going to do if someone calls you selfish? When you state a need that you have and you stop twisting into a human pretzel? How will you respond on the inside of you? Someone may not see looking at you on the outside that you're a human pretzel, but you're going to feel it on the inside. Perhaps you won't be able to breathe as deep, think as clear, feel as deeply. So what are you going to do if someone calls you selfish based on what we heard tonight? Yeah. Maybe you have some questions about our coaching program. Maybe it's easy for you to type into the chat right now questions or thoughts or insights that you've been given from the Lord, but you're afraid to go live on Zoom and to share with other women. Maybe that's a fear. Maybe that turns you in to a pretzel. Might you have a question? Yeah, I love that. Here's the deal. Your people pleasing can squash other people. Did you know by overing for other people and people pleasing and tolerating things that were never meant to be tolerated, other people's bad behavior or whatever, right? Did you know that it can cripple someone? It can enable them not to be fully who God created them to be either. And it might turn them into a human pretzel. So when we get healthier and we let go of unhealthy people pleasing, it encourages other people to get healthier too. That could be your kids, it could be your spouse, it could be other family members, friends. Because guess what? When we get healthy, healthy gets contagious. And unhealthy can be contagious too. And I don't know about you, but I'm a mama of 2 and a grandmama of 7. And my desire for those amazing humans in my life is that they learn how to stand straight, upright, and strong in the Lord instead of to shrink, to be afraid, to be small and twisted into a pretzel. And so how are they going to learn if I don't get healthier and model that before them? Same for you. We have an opportunity to change generations, friends. We do. We totally do. Yeah, we can pause and breathe. Do you know that you can be kind and still have limits? Just because you have limits doesn't mean that you're mean or you're lethal. Limits are healthy. You only have so much capacity. So if something stirred in you today, take the next step. You don't have to keep bending to be loved. You can stand in truth. You can heal. You can learn new things. And we would love to walk with you. There is a link right here on the bottom of my screen, and it is leslievernick.com/people pleasing course. If you go to that link, you will get all the information that you need in order for you to make a conscious choice. Don't rush into it. Take a look and see if it might be for you. See if it might be for you. We would love the opportunity to coach with you. We've got a lot of women who are going to be coaching with us this summer, and we would love for you to join us. Your seat at the table with us could be an answer to another woman's biggest prayer this summer. And I know when I do this, when I get to coach through this program, it grows me up and it matures me. So I am less likely to fall back into my default of becoming a human pretzel. And we would love to have you join us. And so I am going to let you know about a live that's coming up here. Again, we are going to be live again tomorrow, July the 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And the topic for tomorrow's live is When Love Hurts, Trusting God in the Middle of Relationship Pain. Ooh, that's a big one. You know, and maybe even as we've been talking about people pleasing, you're feeling the angst and the pain that you are navigating in your relationships. We talk about that a lot in our people pleasing program as well, because relationships are hard. Life is hard. We see pain happening all over the world right now. There's a lot going on. We do not need to let all of that pain diminish us, though. What would be different if we were strong enough to walk in alignment with God when we can serve and love well and love healthier, because we're doing the work to prepare us for whatever chapter God is going to have us walk into next. Because one thing that we know for certain, change is inevitable. But being diminished by change, being diminished by hard, doesn't have to happen when we untwist, stand strong in the Lord, and learn more about what it means to be His girl, holy and dearly loved, His masterpiece. That's who we are. I am so grateful that you have received benefit. Please type into the chat. What is your takeaway? We've got about 2 minutes left, and then we are going to end our live. What are you going to walk away with tonight? What are you going to walk away with tonight? I'm so grateful that you've chosen to be here. You know, we started off our time this evening with the question that, have you been bending for years, bending over backwards to keep the peace, to manage the moods in the room, to avoid conflict or earn acceptance? We've talked about twisting ourselves emotionally, spiritually, and relationally just to hold everything together. We've talked about how we're tired, we're depleted. We've talked about that we can say one thing on the outside, but on the inside, we can feel suffocated. We can feel like we can't breathe. We can feel diminished. We've talked about apologizing for our needs. We've talked about it's not love if it costs us our voice, our dignity, or our sanity. We talked about being present and learning about healthy people pleasing, not being pressured into performing. We talked about giving permission to untwist, to exhale, and to reset. So what is it that you're going to take away? My growth lets others be themselves. Yeah, then we're really going to see who they are. And then we're going to be able to decide if those are the people that we can be around. Once we really see who people are and let other people see who we are, we get to be real and authentic, not artificial. Love that. So, what else are you going to take away? I get to ask myself if I was safe to be myself today. I love that, Allison. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. I look forward to joining you again. I hope to see you tomorrow on our live. I think it's Coach Susan and Coach Diana will be here with you tomorrow. Please save your seat in our Moving Beyond People Pleasing Flexible Summer Coaching Program. You will be so glad that you did. Go to leslievernick.com/people pleasing course to find out more information. And thank you again for being here. All right, Vicki, I see you. Feeling diminished is actually optional in hard relationships. Thank you for that. And on that note, thank you for encouraging me to continue to challenge the beliefs that can keep us stuck, feeling small or afraid. God bless you all. Take good care. We'll see you soon.